And today we're going to read a story about big words. What do you think? Now, I'm not talking about supercalifragilisticexpialidocious like Mary Poppins. No, 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 not that type of a big word. I'm talking about these big words. Let me show you an example of a big word. Not like this, not like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, super long, but I'm talking about words like peace, hope, dream. One of my favorite words, love. Let's see what else. Courage, together, freedom, power, care, and I think, I have a couple more. Admire and great. Oh, I think you can probably take a guess now what I mean when I say big words. That's right. Big words are the words that we should use every day to bring people together. And boys and girls, sometimes in the news or in life, we're going to see examples of when we don't see these big words, right? And so today I wanted to share with you a story that speaks of someone I am a fan of. He is no longer living today, but he was a leader that brought people together. Ah, I see you. Must be Eli there. That's right. That's what you figured. Eli, this was the book that I wanted to read to your class that week, but instead we read the book about the famous painter. So today we get to read the story that I was going to read to the third grade group on that day. So I'm excited about it. And I first learned about this amazing leader when I was probably 5 or 6 years old, back when I was in first grade. You remember when you were in first grade? Not too long ago, right, guys? And when I heard about this amazing leader, I was so inspired. I was in class like this. Wow, this individual, this leader, he gave big speeches to crowds and crowds of people. He wasn't afraid. He had courage. He had power. He had love. Wow, and he brought people together in unity. I was so inspired, and I continue to be just very inspired even to this day. So, the leader who I am a fan of on Fan Friday is none other than Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That's right, he used big words to fight big battles and to overcome, to make sure that everyone had the opportunity to live in freedom and live in peace and in harmony. Now, boys and girls, again, sometimes when we see the news or we hear sad stories of what's going on around us in our world, we may not see evidence of these big words, right? And so it's up to us to learn the lesson so that way we can be leaders too. So as we listen to today's story, you're listening for big words, those inspiring words that bring people together. That's right. Hey there, I see you on here, Gavin, as well, and Elijah. All right, so this book, as you can see, has many, many different awards. All right, it's a very popular and famous book, again, about someone whom I greatly admire, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And the title of this book is called Martin's Big Words. The author is Doreen Rappaport, and the illustrator is Brian Collier. Everywhere in Martin's hometown, he saw the signs, white only. His mother said these signs were in all southern cities and towns in the United States. Every time Martin read the words, he felt bad. Until he remembered what his mother told him. You are as good as anyone. In church, Martin sang hymns. He read from the Bible. He listened to his father preach. These words made him feel good. And he said, when I grow up, I'm going to get big words too. Martin did grow up. He became a minister like his father, and he used the big words he had heard as a child from his parents and from the Bible. He said, everyone can be great. That's right, Elijah and Gavin, boys and girls, you can be great. He studied the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi. He learned how the Indian nation won freedom without ever firing a gun. Martin said love when others said hate. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. He said together when others said separate. He said peace when others said war. Sooner or later, all the people of the world have to discover a way to live together. In 1955, on a cold December day in Montgomery, Alabama, Rosa Parks was coming home from work. A white man told her to get up from her seat on the bus so he could sit. She said no and was arrested. Montgomery's black citizens learned of her arrest. It made them angry. They decided not to ride buses anymore until they could sit anywhere they wanted. For 381 days, they walked to work and school and church. They walked in the rain and cold and in blistering heat. Martin walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them until the white city leaders had to agree they could sit anywhere they wanted. When the history books are written, Dr. King said, someone will say there lived Black people who had the courage to stand up and fight for their rights. In the next 10 years, Black Americans all over the South protested for equal rights. Martin walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them. White ministers told them to stop. Mayors and governors and police chiefs and judges ordered them to stop, but they kept on marching. Wait! For years I have heard the word wait, Martin Luther King Jr. said. We have waited more than 340 years for our rights. They were jailed and beaten and murdered, but they kept on marching. Some Black Americans wanted to fight back with their fist. Martin convinced them not to by reminding them of the power of love. Love is the key to the problems of the world. Many white Southerners hated and feared Martin's words. A few threatened to kill him and his family. His house was even bombed. His brother's house was bombed too, but he refused to stop. Remember, if I am stopped, this movement will not be stopped because God is with this movement. The marches continued. More and more Americans listened to Martin's words. He shared his dreams and filled them with hope. He said, I have a dream that one day in Alabama, little Black boys and Black girls will join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. After 10 years of protest, the lawmakers in Washington voted to end segregation. The white-only signs in the South came down. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. cared about all Americans. He cared about people all over the world, and people all over the world admired him. In 1964, he won the Nobel Peace Prize. He won it because he taught others to fight with words, not with their fists. Martin went wherever people needed help. In April 1968, he went to Memphis, Tennessee. He went to help garbage collectors who were on strike. He walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them. On his second day there, he was shot and he died. But his big words are alive for us today. And here, my friends, we can see some examples of the big words. I'd love to know from you, as this is the end of our story, the biography about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., what were some big words in this story that stuck out to you? Again, I'll type here my favorite big word, and it is very simple, my favorite 4-letter word. That is, I'm trying to type in, I'd love to know from you as well. What is your favorite word? I'm trying to type in love, but I'm getting a little bit of an error message, so I'll move forward. But yes, go ahead and type in one of your favorite big words from the story. Again, the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is very inspiring because he was a leader and he worked to bring people together. It was a difficult time back in the 1950s and 60s and many years before that. And today we're still working through some of the same issues, just like some of the other leaders that I'd like to remind you of. Mahatma Gandhi from India, Malala from Pakistan, Nelson Mandela from South Africa, as I saw Gavin made reference to him in the chat, also Cesar Chavez from Mexico, and many others. So the question for you today, boys and girls, is, are you going to be a leader too? Are you going to use big words to bring people together and to make a difference in our society? I have full faith and confidence that you will. And seeing some of the words that you selected here, yes, I see Sawyer says love as well. I see Elijah says peace and dream. Absolutely. There are big words all around us that we can use. Now, when people use those small words like hate and evil or mean, we can overcome those small words with bigger words because they have more power and more strength. And that's the best way to make a difference. I hope you enjoyed that story. It's one of my favorites. And again, about an individual whom I'm a big fan of. His legacy still lives on today, and the big words that he used as well, like the dream that we can all continue to live together in harmony. Well, boys and girls, thank you for enjoying that story with me. I hope that you will continue, again, to be a leader